So, the first thing that I want us to do, just want to go back a little bit in history, and I want Felix to just come and give us a bit of a background of where things started. But we want to start it from an Olympics point of view, and then we jump back into AI. So Felix?
So the way that we usually introduce ourselves, when we prepared this presentation, I was going to do the history part, because I'm the history nerd. So the way that we normally introduce ourselves is he's artificial, I'm intelligence. So I'm going to give you a bit of history. So this is a quote by my favorite author called G.K. Chesterton. And during his time, he was a British author in the early 1900s. And during his time, there was a lot of technology that was happening. There was a lot of, the trend then was this whole idea of eugenics. People were talking about making a new kind of man back then. And this was his response to one of the authors during that time who was sort of like the face of that movement. His name was Bernard Shaw. And that's the trend that you almost always see with every technology. Every technology has this idea that we want to replace men, we want a new kind of man next. But what you realize is that if you go back in history, all empires, all technologies have failed because of that very idea that they are built on things that do not last. They're built on strong men, they're built on technologies that do not last. But if you look in history, the things that last are things that are founded on men, the normal, ordinary, beer drinking, creed making, ordinary men. And if you look at Christ, the church that he founded 2,000 years ago, it is not built on a strong man, it is not built on an extraordinary man, it is built on Peter. Peter who was a coward, it is built on an ordinary man. So I just want us to look at the history of Olympics. And the reason why I'm raising that point is because sports is like that. The reason why sports has endured this long is because it is one of those things like religion that is built on men. So this is the history of Olympics. It started in 776 BC, before Christ. This is when the ancient Olympics ignite, and it went on, continued until the Roman civilization, the Roman era, 2,000 years ago. It endured all of those ages. It endured the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages. People were still playing sports. The Renaissance period, all technologies have came and go, but sports have remained. In 2025, it is still uniting the world. So civilizations rise and fall, but what is built upon man, upon the human spirit, it endures. And this is the reason why sports can never be replaced. It's because of creativity, humanity, and culture. When technology makes us forget our humanity, sports remind us. And why am I saying this? I got into AI. I have actually no reason for me to be here. 6 months, what I mean by that is I have no reason for me to be standing in front of you telling you about AI. But because 6 months ago, I was just a financial analyst in a cubicle until I met my partner, Michael, from college. We went to the same college, and he told me about AI. And what I realized is that AI is coming for my job. and I decided to do something about it. And we started coming up with some ideas that we are actually implementing today. So AI is coming for a lot of jobs in our time, but the one thing that AI, the one career that I think AI might not be able to touch, the one space that is safe from this AI wave, I believe that sports is one of those things, because it has that human element. In a world where a lot of people are going to forget what humanity is, careers like yours are going to become increasingly important, because they are the things that are going to remind us what it means to be human. And that thing is what is going to last forever.
That was very beautiful and intelligent. Now back to our fisher. Alright, so I think this gives us a little bit of grounding and comfort that with all the changes that happened with time, sports is something that all the changes could not touch, cannot touch, and it's always growing, always adapting to all the different ages that came and go. So we are not talking about when industries started happening, 4 industrial revolutions that actually happened. So we have the first industrial revolution that happened. We started having steam engines, we started having automation, machine, men started to actually build things, right? And around the 1870s, it's not that far, 1870s, electricity started coming up. You know, right now it seems so normal that we have lights, we can just turn it on and off. But there was a time that it was actually mind-blowing. People were like, whoa, how are we doing this? So this is 1870s. During that time, broadcasting started happening, you know, radio and everything like that. And then in the 1960s, well, just a few years ago, that's when the third industrial revolution started happening. We started having computers. We started having all our cell phones. You know, that right now, if I'm just saying, hey, don't look at your phone, you'll be like, what's happening? You know, we can't keep our hands off our phones. But there was a time that, you know, it was actually completely new. You know, but right now it's things that we're using every day. We can't run away from it. So computers happening, instant replays. We started seeing live football happening. Things changed. But now, we now have AI. And AI is really changing a lot in the sporting space, in our daily lives. Right now, we're already overwhelmed with social media and all the kind of stuff, but we're saying we're going to the next level. We are now starting a whole new technology that we've only seen in movies, really. We thought that, okay, this is probably a movie. This can never happen. But now, we're in that space where the things that we saw in sci-fi movies, they can actually now start really happening. And the time is actually now. All right, let's go. So, this time is different. The adoption speed to how things actually came by, it was actually very different. AI is being adopted 15 times faster than electricity, 2.5 faster than the internet. You know, when these new technologies are coming up, you know, people take time. They drag and they are slow, like, those internet, should we implement, should we use it? But when it comes to AI, its adoption rate is off the roof. And people are using it, and the people that are not using it, the difference in actually the gap that is being created you can never catch up, because it's moving very fast. If you decide not to use AI today, and someone decides to use AI, someone who's sitting next to you, the difference that is going to be between you and that person is going to be so huge, because we're utilizing super fast intelligence. People can now build things super fast. People can now do things super fast. That if you're not using it, you can understand the gap that we're talking about, all right? So are we together so far? And it's making sense? Awesome. All right, let's go. So, Africa, we have a chance. I'm pretty sure even when it comes to Olympics and the things that we do in Zim, if the same event or something like this is happening in the States, people pay attention, right? And this is a gap that has been created over the past industrial revolutions. We always had to adopt things a little later than the first world, right? Which is normal because we're developing countries. But right now with AI, we now are at a point that we can actually leapfrog. You know, we can actually leapfrog because the new technology that is being released, like ChatGPT, or that very same ad that we played when we were starting this, someone who's in Canada, someone who's in Switzerland, in America, in London, they are literally saying the same thing, and they're actually ignoring it the same way that you are ignoring it. You understand? There is that sign when the internet came, fancy stuff. But it's just which dinner, you know, and the line, it was something you thought, hey, you know, but side look, they're already using that kind of stuff. So we're kind of like lagging behind, years lagging behind. But now with the internet, right now, someone, President Donald Trump, it has never happened before. You know, when something is announced in the States, in the first call, we can also utilize the information. So there's that, you know, narrowing down or that closing of that information gap. So this is a real opportunity for someone who just really realizes it, like, whoa, okay, this is what's happening. You know, and you can literally have an advantage in whatever space. But right now we're talking in sports, there's so many advantages that we're gonna be sharing, and at the same time, a little practical stuff. Oh yeah, I will still have some really good time. Are we still okay?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So before we really do the practical stuff, let's go back to class. All right. Okay. Can someone in their own, you know, thinking, just or perspective, just, you know, say what AI is? Well, what do you think is AI in your own, you know, understanding? Let it be interactive a little bit. Don't be scared. I don't bite. Yes.
The best thing that ever happened.
all right. Let's step into it. All right. Someone else. The best thing that has ever happened. Awesome. Someone else. Just. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
AI is an artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence learning.
Artificial intelligence learning. So the learning aspect of things is something that is learning how we do things. Our intelligence, making it artificial, and it's learning. Thank you for the wonderful definition. All right, thank you.
I think AI is a tool that was designed to make our lives easier.
A tool that was designed to make our lives easier. Wonderful. One last one. Just one. One last. Come on, ladies. Oh, thank you.
Okay, so when we mix what she said and what they said, so it's more of also when we create things easier.
You know, create things easier. Wonderful. So thank you so much for those wonderful definitions. And I really think we're at a point where we're teaching enough of this with AI. So AI in plain English, this is a computer or a phone that is just got smarter. You know, that's something that we are already using, you know, our WhatsApp and everything like that, all those algorithms and computers, those apps, they've just gone smarter. And they are now at a point of really mimicking how a human intelligence works, how a human brain works. Anti computer basically what a computer in anoti RAM space yako, storage yako. So I need what 20 gig, once so good so that does so I got one day can store more things. But my 8 gig RAM or 4 gig RAM or random access memory. You would see since all one something for a paper phone phone is slow. Your phone is very fast. Your computer is slow, it's very fast. So since you would see how much can a computer process at one particular time. So with AI, these things are now getting smarter. So they can now process a lot of things at the same time to the extent of achieving human intelligence. So you now know what AI is a little bit. All right. So the reason why I'm giving this perspective is because if you understand what an AI is, you can interact with it like a person. So this is the cheat code for you to master AI. I'm not planning with some of you are still using AI like Google. You're just asking it like Google because that's what we're used to. That's the technology that we're using. But with AI, you don't have to use it like Google. You have to use it like a companion, like you're talking to Coach Mike. Okay, I'm not understanding my card. When you confidence, Google, you couldn't do that. If you articles, I can see next, getting a lot of articles. But with AI, it's like you're talking to an intelligent person. You're like, okay, well, I understand that's what this is. You need that button so. You're just no more on this is okay. So let me explain it to you like this. And it even goes to the extent of having agents. We're now having AI agents. These are things, AIs that are now autonomous. How many have watched Terminator? Yeah, it's coming. It's happening. Yeah, unfortunately it wasn't just a movie, it was a prophecy of the future. I'm joking. So the agents now can now be autonomous. You can now give it a task and it actually starts doing things, So this is just me opening, your perspectives of what AI could be, right? So let's go. All right. So from hype to impact. Common user. Those no one's Shanisa, probably those who have been using AI. This is probably how you've been using it. Write my email or help with homework. This is good. Write a tweet for me. Tell me a joke. Why not almost at your day? Nah, you should try it. It really has some really good jokes. But yeah, it can really do some really good stuff. But the impact that you can actually utilize AI is the agentic use of it. I think Namuta is my agent, Lobangana Shika is my Terminator. So it's something that we can now start using on our phones. We don't even need the super fancy gadgets or things, our literal phones. And we have the technology to create an agent that you can actually ask it to do a task for you. A little task. Read through my emails and find Tatenda, respond to him and tell him, if he sends an email that is saying inviting me to this event, please respond to that email and tell him I will attend. You give it a task. It goes to your emails, it searches your emails, and it actually picks Tatenda. It tries Tatenda's email, and it sends to Tatenda. Tatenda responds, it follows up and notifies you, hey, Tatenda has responded. That's good.
So, hello guys, how are you? I hope you find you well. So, my name is Prosper. I'm a filmmaker and a journalist and a storyteller. So today I'm going to talk about the importance of storytelling in sport and using AI as well. Like my brother Michael was saying, AI is taking all over the world, and we all understand that from back in the days, from traditional media to new media, which is the use of social media, ABCD, we came to understand and appreciate that everyone became a brand in telling their own story. So I also think it is important as sports people to also be able to tell your own story without waiting for someone to tell your own story. So, for example, if we all understand that the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo and other bigger brains in sports, I think we all agree that they post a lot of content, they write a lot of tweets, ABCD. So my point is, if you wait for other people to tell your own story, no one is going to come and tell your own story. You know how best you can perform in terms of sport. You know how talented you are in terms of sport. But now, how do we bring in the aspect of AI now? I think back in the days we used to sit maybe, it used to take, let's say, 2 to 3 hours at times, months, just to write a 30-second TV advert. Do you agree?
Yeah.
And also it used to take maybe 5 days or 7 days of working to just come up with a 30-second video edited promotion that was going to be also standardized by a broadcasting company to say, does this really suit our standard? If not, no story. So also media was very, very difficult to present yourself and to tell your own story. So nowadays, with the use of AI, you can just prompt, like Michael was saying, I want to portray myself in a certain way, A, B, C, D, and then within a minute, you now have a short script. You want to design a logo, within a minute, you now have a logo. You want to edit a music video or your own 30 seconds of what you were doing in sport, 30 seconds, you now have it. So I'm saying,